So, hi Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I'm really excited to speak. So, can we
Thank you.
start
It's
by you
so
just
great to
giving an
chat to you
introduction to
today.
yourself, your business, and what you sell?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Jennifer, and I'm a ceramics designer. And I created my product really from like grassroots on my dining table. So it's a true startup because I love flowers, but I really struggle to arrange them, especially using like traditional methods that aren't very eco-friendly, like floral foam and things like that. So I created a product that would allow anyone, florists or home flower arrangers, to create beautiful flower arrangements at home. And it's called a Halliesphere. So I'm holding on up to the camera if you are um, looking at the video, and it's a ceramic disc that
Oh,
goes
that's
on
brilliant.
top of
Thank
your
you for bringing it
vases
along
or
to show us.
jars and
That's a really
create
good plug for the
a
YouTube
flower
channel for
arrangement.
anyone who's listening but not watching. So, yeah, so it's a lovely ceramic disc and it's got holes of different sizes, which I guess helps you to arrange your stalks.
Yeah, that's right. So I created it so that it gives that really balanced arrangement. So for me, it's about achieving like a florist level arrangement at home. Um, and I absolutely love to have like physical products. And that's why I was really excited to come on to your podcast because I think, the world of physical product is a strange beast. And it's something, yeah, I really enjoy being a part of it. So I'm going to do a little arrangement just to show you. So I've got a dahlia from my garden. Oh, she's so beautiful. So when I put it in the jug, obviously it just kind of falls over and looks a bit sad. So I'm going to pop the Halliesphere on top of the jug, put the stem through one of the holes, and it just it's just a transformation for me. So I'm just going to have one in there because I just think that's so beautiful. But obviously you can fill it up. It's got
Thank you.
17
Thank you
holes.
for
You can
that
just
visual.
keep
And
filling it
you're
up and
absolutely
create an
right because
enormous arrangement if you want
even with
to.
just one flower, you honestly can see the difference because I love having flowers at home, but often I just, for the nicest way I can say it is I plonk them in a vase and then I might fan them out a little bit and I might move them around. But actually, I don't know how to make them look nice. But just seeing that upright immediately looks so much more beautiful than when you put it in the
Yeah.
form and it just sort of flopped to the side.
Yeah, and people have, over the years, the Victorians, the Edwardians, there's mechanics out there, but they tend to be sharp and pokey, and they're like pin frogs or chicken wire or the floral foam, which is a petrochemical. It's so bad for the environment. So what I saw was missing for me as a I grow things in my garden and love to bring flowers into the house was something that was like this. They call it a mechanic, the florists call it a mechanic, but that's also a homeware. And I just couldn't find that crossover. Like, I don't want chicken wire in my in my jugs at home. I don't want to use floral foam. Um, and it kind of over the years has become something more because now florists are using it in their arrangements instead of floral foam and instead of traditional kind of
That's
sharp,
really good. So
pokey,
it's being used by
difficult to
florists
clean
now as
mechanics.
well.
So that's really
That
exciting.
is amazing. So you've explained where the idea came from,
Yeah.
but how did you go from knowing you wanted to create a mechanic for flower arranging to actually having a finished product? Where did the idea come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a huge thing, and I think everyone who's product based goes on their own journeys with it, right? Because we all need to either make it ourselves or partner with manufacturers. And for me, it was a bit of both. So I actually made this product, my Halliespheres, myself on my dining table for about 3 years, and I was selling them at craft markets, so completely made by me by hand. I mean, they took weeks and weeks to make. Obviously, I made them out of air dry clay. That's a porous material. They were around water. I was fastidious. I would sit there all night, like putting yacht varnish on my creations so that they would be waterproof. And I sold so many at craft markets. I thought, this is mad. Like, I'm selling out. People love the concept. They also love the transformation. And it gets people excited about, oh my goodness, I can make my flowers look like that at home. So I doubled my prices because I thought, this is mad. And I was still selling out. So it was that kind of step by step. And I thought, okay, this is a great idea. It's making a big impact for people. I need to scale. I can't make it myself anymore. And I think what really led me to that decision was if I was to get a wholesale order for a couple of thousand, um, which in some circles is, quite a small number, I would just have to say no. And I'm not prepared to say no to this product. Like, this needs to be out in the world. So I took a leap of faith and I went to a trade show and I went to the source area of the trade show. And that, I thought, great, I'll be able to find a manufacturer there. So there's a whole hall just for source. Brilliant. I went there and every single person there that made ceramics was from China. And I thought, oh my goodness, like, can I not get this? Can I not scale in the UK? Like, what's going on? And yeah, it took a long time. I was really thinking about it. But then I thought, wow, I can't find anyone in the UK. I've got to go out to China. And it was a real like galling moment because I really didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be a British made product. So after working with Chinese companies for a few months and getting quotes and everything, I just took a last ditch attempt. I thought, let's just see, can I get this made in the UK before I go out to China and have it scaled there? And I sent an email to a fine china manufacturer, the last remaining in the UK. So the reason I couldn't find anyone is because they unfortunately have all closed apart from one. Sent an email and said, this is my design, this is my product, here's my trademark and my limited company number. Would you like to partner with me? And 20 minutes later, my phone rang, and it was the managing director of Duchess China 1888 in the Staffordshire Potteries. And he said, I think you've really got something special here. I think you've got a great design. I want to meet you. And that was March last year. So how I brought my product to market was, yeah, reaching out to people that felt aligned with my ethics and my values and how I wanted my product to look. And they said yes. So
And that's an amazing
that's how
story. And well
we
done for being so
that's how we
tenacious as
made
well.
it.
Because
So
I know from when we spoke previously, you were really keen for for it to be made in the UK and to be a British product. So, but it is really hard because not everything is made here. So it's amazing you were able to find the one place that could help you because that is like a needle in a haystack, isn't it? It's so hard. And even if there are amazing manufacturers, it's that one thing is do
yeah,
they exist, and then the other thing is finding them and finding being able to speak to them. And so well done on
yeah.
managing to do that because I think that I imagine that wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't. And it was a real kind of heartstrings moment because I knew I wanted to get my product out there. And I thought, well, I'm willing to for it not to be British made so that I can bring the product out because that's not I didn't want that to block me from launching this product. But at the same time, just for me, the right thing was to get it made in the UK if possible. So yeah, really people call it like a Z-force moment when you're like on one timeline and then something happens, you just jump a timeline. But it does prove that people are out there and we are doing incredible things in British manufacturing. The other potential that would like stop people is price point as well, because everyone thinks, oh, you can get that made so much cheaper in China, but actually, when you actually look at imports and storage and tariffs and the cost, like it's not actually that much cheaper. I found for my product, but yeah, I think as a product designer and business owner, we just have to go with our own, what fits best for us and our product. And yeah, I absolutely managed to strike gold with Duchess China. They make for Fortnum and Mason, they make for Highgrove, they did all the King's coronation mugs, so all the God Save the King mugs, they make those. They are just absolutely
That's
incredible. So
amazing.
when they
And
said
also I
yes to
guess
me,
the
it
thing
really
with
did feel like
sourcing from
a
China is
timeline
there's the
jump.
environmental impact as well of shipping products across the world. And I know that sustainability is really important to you, so I guess there was that to consider as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really horrible moment when I realised I might not be able to get it made in the UK. It was almost like, well, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and making in small batches then, because I really wanted sustainability and like the ethics of how it started to be a golden thread throughout the business. So when you think you might not be able to do that, it's a really difficult decision. And I think the fact that I don't know, I just showed this crazy willingness to get it made. And maybe that's why Duchess were like, okay, we're gonna give this a go. We're gonna go and talk to this girl. Um, yeah, so for me, sustainability is really important. And when I went up to the factory and met the incredible people that make, like, hand make the pieces there, all the clay comes from Cornwall. So it's genuinely a British made product because we don't ship anything in to make it. And that really excites me. So the clay comes from Cornwall. You can go to the open mines, and I took my children last summer, and I could say, like, this is where the clay comes from for mummy's work. And that was really amazing because, again, like, how many times can you actually see the raw materials and know where they come from, know the provenance? Um, and Duchess China also have their own print work. So you can see there's a pattern on here. Um, so all of the printing for any of our decals and our patterns are all done in Stoke-on-Trent
That's
as
it is
well.
really,
So we're
and it's
not buying
amazing, and I
anything
think
in
probably
from
quite
overseas. That's very
unique
exciting
as
for
well.
me. Yeah, I think so. And people say, "Are you worried that your idea will get stolen?" And I'm like, well, I think the concept might be copied, but Duchess China are the last remaining UK manufacturer that can make this. So when people talk about USP, it's like, yeah, this is it. And I also feel the responsibility of that as almost like a custodian. These incredible ceramics factories that have one by one closed down, and Duchess China's still here. And I think we need to champion that and talk about it and get people through the doors and get people excited about what we're doing in the UK, but also in the ceramics world,
And I hadn't thought actually
because it
about,
is
you just
there.
mentioned that you said
But
that people often ask if you're worried about your idea being copied. Is that something that's concerned you? I mean, I guess, as you said, somebody wouldn't be able to do it in
mm,
ceramics. They'd have to use a different material. But is that something that's concerned you?
mm. Yeah, it definitely has. And I think there was a point about 2 years ago where I almost didn't continue because I thought, well, it's just going to get copied and they'll probably do it better than me and it'll be cheaper and it'll be this and that. We all have these thoughts sometimes. And I'm so glad I didn't listen, because if we let that stop us launching our great idea, or even if it's a reimagination of something that's already out there, like, we never do anything. And I think, yeah, that has bothered me, but I did what I could. I applied for a trademark and I've got design patent on the design itself. And what I've done is I've created a really sustainable product that, if it is made in China and shipped in and sold for a couple of pounds, it won't be
Yeah,
Halliesphere. So I want Halliesphere to be like the Ferrari of this
that
world.
makes sense.
Like,
And
positioning
I think
yourself
you're
in the
absolutely
market's
right.
really
People
important as
can't
well. So
replicate the product exactly, even if they try and make a cheap plastic version. Let's say they can't completely copy what you've done because, as you said, there's so much more to the brand than the product. It's everything that makes it up.
yeah. Yeah, I hope so. And I think definitely, kind of, as an industry and as a collective, people are asking more about the provenance of where their things are coming from. And if they see something at a higher price point, I think you do think, okay, well, I know that that's going to be ethically made, or I can see where it's come from. And I think people are looking for that more and more. Um, so yeah, I hope that that really resonates. And my job as a founder is to tell the story, which is why I love podcasts and I love meeting people, because the story is such a huge part of the ownership. But
Yeah.
equally,
And I think also
it
in
gives
terms
you
of
this
sustainability,
incredible
there's also
flower
kind of the
arrangement. So
element that you should only need to ever buy one of these once and it will last you forever. And I do think there's more of a lean towards that now as well. Like, I know when I shop myself, I would much rather spend more money on something that's going to last me years
mm,
than buy something knowing that it's going to wear out in whether it's months or years or whatever, and I'm going to have to replace it. I think a lot of people now are getting much more considered about how we spend our money. Um, and I would rather spend a bit more on quality because otherwise it's a bit of a false economy, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, it's such a good point. And I think that's what is it really, like, strikes a chord with me, is that these are heirloom pieces. They'll be passed down the family, so it's fine china, it doesn't chip. It's not like a stoneware or a really cheap ceramic that just will break. So, yeah, I think that they're just incredible because they do have that longevity. And it's like this creamy Cornish clay. And also you can put them in the dishwasher. So it's like you can use them for modern living. That was the whole point. I wanted something that you could bash around and crash around with. And, people say sometimes they say, oh, like that's too precious. I couldn't use it. So I really try and show people in when I'm talking about it, like they're so robust. They're there to be used. They are super precious, but it's like you're saying, like you invest in a piece that you want to use all the time. Um, and yeah, it's really exciting to think that they will be passed down through the generations. And I want people to think, oh yeah, I remember using this with my grandma. I'm going to pass it down. So yeah, that's definitely part of my ethos. And it's kind of how to tell that story. When you go to Duchess China, they've got the most incredible like fine china teapots. They're just crashing around, backing around. It's all because they are that strong. So yeah, you've reminded me that I definitely need to do some storytelling about that because we see fine china and
Yeah,
sometimes we
no,
think,
you're
oh no,
absolutely right. I
it's
mean,
it's
I've got
breakable,
some china
but
we got years and
it's
years
not
ago.
always the
It's
case.
like I got his wedding present, and it is that thing of, oh, you're a bit scared to use it because you don't want to
Yeah,
chip a cup or you don't want to drop something, or but you're right, you have to use things and enjoy them.
yeah, yeah. I'm going to think about how to tell that message and tell that story because one of the things Duchess China say is, actually, as you said at the beginning of this topic, like people buy a tea set from them and then they don't come back because it lasts a generation, if not more. So when they're making things, they're saying, like, we know that when this goes out to that customer,
And
they'll
that's
shop
really
with us again,
exciting.
but
And
not for that
actually, and
because
also,
that will
something
last
else I'm
forever.
getting from you is how much joy like flowers and flower arranging can bring. And we'll definitely move on. I definitely want to ask you a bit more about that in a moment, if that's okay. Um, because I think that would be lovely to talk a little bit about the sort of the well-being element as
Yeah.
well. Because your product is obviously it is a product, but I do think there's a lovely sort of well-being aspect to connecting with nature and flowers and flower arranging. And I think that's lovely. What I'd like to ask a little bit first, if that's
Mm.
okay, is about Etsy, because I know you currently sell on Etsy. Is that the only place you're selling at the moment?
So I'm selling on Etsy and at like in-person events, and my products are on the Duchess China website as a collection. So that's where people can get them at the moment. And also I'm working really hard on my wholesale offer, because I do want to have the two streams, so Etsy and the Duchess China website, but and wholesale as well. But yeah, Etsy has I've just kind of just started and I had a little flurry at the beginning and now it's actually quite steady.
Oh,
I'm a bit like
amazing.
shocked. I actually had an order for two just before the podcast. So you must have been putting the Etsy out there, which is always amazing,
And how have you
and
found
really,
Etsy
really
as a
exciting when
platform
you
to get
see
started
an
on?
Etsy sale come through. I found it really easy to get started on, and I think as we all know, because you can't avoid it now, it's like SEO, 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 everyone's. And I think once I was like, okay, well, let's just get the SEO right then. And I think people are finding me, which is really cool. Like, I'm getting orders from all over the country and some international orders as well. And I think that does mean that putting those hours into SEO works. I'd love Etsy to do more and I think that I can do more with it. At the moment, it's quite ad hoc, and what I see is I'll do an in-person event, I'll hand out cards, and then I'll have a flurry on my Etsy shop, which is wonderful because that means people are remembering me. Like, think of all the steps they have to go through to remember me, find my card, look on my Etsy, decide to buy, check it out. I mean, that's a huge process that someone's gone through because they've seen me in person. But yeah, I'd love it to do more. Like, I'm getting a couple of
Well, that's
sales a week,
amazing,
so
though, considering you've just started.
making
But I
that
think you're
hourly would
right
be
about
great.
doing the face-to-face events as well. And it's amazing that people are finding you there and then going to shop from you. I imagine part of that is because possibly it's a more considered purchase, because I've definitely done that myself. You know, you see something at a market or a pop-up and you really like it, but you go, oh, can I, should I? And then you walk away and go, I definitely should have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is definitely an element of that. And, because it isn't a considered purchase and it might be something that I have like families come and say siblings want to club together and get one for mum. So she'll say, "Oh, I need to ask my brother about this," and then she'll come back, and the brother's like, "Yeah, let's get it for mum." So sometimes it's because it's a joint present, and sometimes it's because people want to measure their vessels, which is quite fun. So all the measurements are on Etsy, and people go home and think, "Oh, it will fit on that vase.
And
I'm
I
going to
guess it's
get
also
one."
a
So
nice
yeah,
product for people
it's
to
really
see in
lovely to
real
see that
life as
kind of
well.
process. Yeah, it really is. I think, as we know, as physical product owners, it's there's nothing quite like, yeah, just having that connection with the product. And as you say, as this is to
I guess
put
also it's a
flowers in, it
product that
just
people
brings
might
that
not
nature
necessarily
in.
would know would exist as well. So I guess with somewhere like Etsy, they might not be searching for it because they may never have. Because until we were introduced, I'd never heard of your product. I'd never heard of anything
Mm,
similar. If I was going to arrange flowers, the only thing I can think of is when I was a
yeah,
kid, and I don't know where I remember this from, is that dark green foam, and I don't know how I would have come across that, but I have a
yeah,
real memory of
the
that. I've not
foam.
used that now, but I think now if I was arranging flowers, I would just put them in a vase and hope. Well, I wouldn't now because I know about your product, but you know
Mm,
what I mean. Before that, I would have just put them in a vase and hope for the best. And I think there
hope,
will be lots of people
yeah,
who want
yeah,
beautiful displays, but they don't know how, but they don't know that such a thing
yeah,
exists. So I guess that's a bit of a challenge too.
exactly. Oh my gosh, it's such a challenge as a new business, honestly. Um, because yeah, people, that's why in person is so important. And I'm traveling, I think I've been traveling pretty much every weekend the whole summer, going to horticultural shows and events and trade shows and just talking about it as much as I can because, as you say, it's not a thing yet. And I want Halliesphere to be like Tesco or like Tupperware. We all know what that is, but it's not a thing, it's a made up word, right? So I want people in 2 years' time to say, "Oh, mum, pass me the Halliesphere." It's just a thing. It's just people know what it is. And I think my job is like I'm working really hard to make that happen because it's a new product. But this product is so incredible. It really deserves to have that. I'm just gonna tip it so you can see. It's so simple, but I said people at
I was about
markets
to
say,
say
it's
exactly
often the
that.
simplest ideas that are the most
And it's
effective.
great you're on the Duchess China website as well because I wasn't aware of that, and I think that's also amazing that they're sort of backing you in that way, and they want to. It feels like a real partnership, which is really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really incredible. I remember sitting in the boardroom when I first met them, and I've got a strategic coach, and he's great, and he's been in the business a long, long time. And we're sat in the boardroom, and he said to the managing director, "Would you put Jennifer's products on your website?" And the MD said, "Oh, I don't see why not." When you're in these situations, and I was like, I think I'd stopped breathing at that point. And they did, and sometimes things can happen and then it doesn't follow through, but they did, and they put me on their website. So I think that just, as you say, that shows to me as well the commitment to this product and to this relationship. I've just put another flower in there, and I cannot. This it's I know it's my product, but I get excited every time I put a few flowers in because
Oh, and I can see
that's
how
not how they
happy it
look
makes you as well. And
before I made Halliesmith.
I know you've talked before about how spending
Mm.
time in nature and working with flowers is good for your well-being. Do you think that's deepened the connection for you, sort of working with flowers and creating the product?
Yeah, definitely. And when I first started making it, it got me out in the garden or out for a walk every day. So what I would do is like obviously I wouldn't fill a whole one up every day because then I'd have like 7 flower arrangements by the end of the week. But I'd pick one flower, either from the garden or from the hedgerows or by one bloom from the florist. We know we go to a florist and you see one bloom and you think, I've got to have that one. And then you think, oh, but I'm not going to buy it because I don't know what to do with it. It won't look right in a vase. So over the week I'll like fill up one vase and fill each hole every day. And I just found that connection really astounding because it was like, wow, I'm really noticing what's growing, what was actually blooming last week that now isn't this week. And it kind of built a picture of the year for me. And it's really incredible what you can notice. And it takes no time at all. It's like while the kettle's boiling, I'll just pop out. These dahlia are from my garden. My husband grows them, so hopefully he won't mind that I'm not really allowed to go out into the garden with scissors because they're his precious flowers. But I thought we were worth it today. I mean, look at them. Yeah, so it definitely helped me through like lockdown and having a 5-year-old at home who's neurodivergent and a brand new baby. It's like when could you find a second for yourself? And it was literally going into the garden, picking one stem, even a
That's
piece of
really
lovely
nice. And
grass,
how
and
do you see
putting
it
it
working
in
for people
the
who don't
Halliesphere.
think of themselves as creative? Do you think you can still arrange flowers and have the benefits of the well-being benefits and express your creativity, even if you think, oh, I'm not a garden person, I'm not a green fingered person?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, that's funny because this morning I had a testimonial come through, and someone had written that they came to one of my workshops and they said they couldn't believe how they could make the most incredible flower arrangement with no skill. And they said they thought that with Halliesphere they'd need a demo and it would all have to be laid out and they'd have to learn a process to do it. And she said, I can't believe that you just literally pop it on your vase and plonk the flowers in, that you don't need a demo or a tutorial or anything to be creative with it. Um, so yeah, it just lends itself to you're the artist, even if you don't think of yourself as creative. And I think a lot of us struggle with, oh, I'm not going to buy those special flowers from the florist because I can't arrange them and I won't do them justice. I think that's what I hear a lot. So Halliesphere is there to just give you and the flowers a little bit of support so they look like this in a vase, which they're just standing up and looking like, hello, we're here. So yeah, no, you don't need creativity at all. And actually, it's quite a mindful activity. My kids love filling one up because
Yeah, I'm
it's
with you.
just
And there's no
anything where you're
right or wrong
creating
either,
something
which I think is
from
really
nothing,
nice.
you
Like, as long as it looks beautiful to you.
No, I'll show you. I've got one on a teapot
Oh,
here.
can you
So
move it
this is
over a
my
little bit
Gladstone
more so
blue
we can get it in the
teapot,
middle?
and I've got a
Perfect. Thank
matching
you. Oh, it's
Halliesphere,
lovely.
which we made at the pottery. There we go. I'm going to move that. I love this teapot. I do use it for tea, but also, so it's got a Halliesphere on top with the blue pattern. And I've just picked a bit of sage from the garden, move out of shop, and a few of these, which I don't know what they're called because I'm not a florist, I'm a ceramics designer. And this is just from the garden. I think that just makes me so happy. So I also love putting herbs in because it just has the most incredible smell. So you've got like a natural air freshener, and I'll just pop that downstairs or even in the bathroom. It smells amazing. So yeah, that's where the zero
It does
skill
look
or
really effective. I think they're
creativity
verbena.
comes
I
in.
think that's
You
verbena because I
just
really like verbena, but
gather.
it looks really effective. That looks really nice. So tell me about your workshops. I wasn't. I didn't know you were
Ah,
running
doesn't it?
workshops.
Oh yeah, so I've just started working with a local hotel, Calcott and Spa, and they're incredible. They've actually just won an award for sustainability, like top eco hotel in Britain. And they invited me to come and start doing workshops with them, which was really an incredible opportunity for me as a new business. So I go in and people can, they have lunch in the beautiful brasserie and they get to take in the gorgeous hotel. And then they have 2 hours with me, and I'll do storytelling and demos and arrange while people have a nice cup of tea. And then they get to pick all their own flowers from a huge selection that I bring and create their own arrangements to take home. And that's been just such a wonderful way to connect with people. Um, and yeah, it's been really popular. I've got one in November and hopefully going to have one in January because a few
Oh,
people
that's
have said, can you
nice.
do one in January so I can
And
buy
do
a
you use
ticket
the
as a Christmas
Halliesphere
present
for your
and then they can go
workshops?
in January? Yeah.
And so do people get to take one home at the end?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So people, yeah, they do. So they get a vase and a high sphere and all the
Yeah,
flowers to take
that's
home
so
as
nice.
well,
And
so they can
the
just
reason I
use it
wanted to
again and
ask, when you
again.
said
So
about
it's
workshops,
been
I
really
thought that's
popular. So
really
lovely.
smart as well because it's another way to for people to learn about your product and how to use it and obviously sell your products. I think that's really, really good.
Mm, thank you. I think there's something for all of us about like there's something about connecting with the founder. and you just get like the behind the scenes, and we all love a behind the scenes. And I tell like really
I
personal
think it's also nice
stories
for people
and
to sort of
like
learn
take
how
people
to
on a
use the product
journey.
as well, and in a really fun way. Like, yeah, that's really stuck with me. I think that's such a good idea for people to spend an afternoon doing something lovely, using the product. And I think it also probably makes it more likely that once they've taken it home,
Mm,
they'll use it again because they'll have that confidence in what they're doing.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's so lovely because, and people coming together, like people don't know each other. And what surprised me is often someone will book a ticket to come by themselves. Like people are quite happy to come to these things by themselves. They know they're going to meet other like-minded people. And people are encouraging each other and looking at each other's arrangement and saying, "Oh gosh, I love how you've done that." And it's so lovely
Oh,
that
yeah, I think
this
that's such a
this
nice
product,
idea.
it just
And
kind of
actually,
brings
as you
people
know a bit about
together.
flowers, can I ask you a few flower questions before we close, Jennifer? So obviously we're recording this in October and we're going into winter. And when this episode goes out,
Yeah.
it will actually be December. So people can see there is a little bit of a lead time here. I mean, winter is tricky well, for me, I find winter tricky for gardens and flowers. So let's say
Yeah.
someone's listening to this in December. What are some of your favourite flowers or stems or things that people can use now? They're listening to this episode now. They think, "Oh, I'd love to go out in the garden.
Mm.
Jennifer's inspired me." What can they use at this time of year, particularly?
Yeah, so I am so excited about December and the festive period because we we just I feel like most of us are just called to bring something in during the festive period, right? If you've got people coming over, we're called to bring nature in, and I'm really excited about that time of year. And I will be using the most beautiful arrays of like hollies, variegated leaves, and just berries, any kind of that lovely green foliage, ivy. Just be careful if you're picking ivy, wear gloves and wash your hands. But it's just there's so much that you can bring in, and for me, it's not flowers, it's foliage, and it's all those beautiful stems and red berries, and just creating that lovely greenery. And I actually love leaning into that. Like, I'm not going to go out and be like, oh, well, there's no flowers in December. No, but look at what there is. And you can often actually still find that kind of autumn leafy colour at that time of year. So I will be foraging and getting a few bits from the wholesaler and from my local florist because I think there's something really magical about that. So what I do is I'll get something like this teapot, fill it up with that greenery, holly, berries, ivy, and then I'll put a candle in the middle. So I just use a bit of blue tack and put a lovely tall taper candle in the middle, and it looks beautiful. So, yeah, go out. You'd be surprised if you go out
Thank
for a
you for
walk
that, and thank you
and
for sharing it, because I
actually
do
look and
think
see
that
what could I bring
everyone's going
in.
to listen and go, "Oh, I would love to do that," but it's December, because you do have that conception. I mean, my garden is it's okay. I've got sort of a few things that are evergreens.
Yeah.
There's green all year round, but that, like that spring colour is what's not there, and the autumn colour. I
Mm,
mean, it's autumn now. I love autumn. I think it might be my favourite. I love the golds
mm,
and reds and yellow. It's just beautiful.
yeah.
But yeah, winter I think can be a tricky
Yeah.
time.
It can be, and I think that's why I love using taper candles. You know, you can get quite thin ones as well, like really tiny taper candles. Imagine three of those coming out of the arrangement. Because I just use one of the holes and put a bit of blue tack and put them in, and it's kind of bringing that color in elsewhere, and like how can you balance your arrangement? And I'll still go to the local florist and get a few bits, but I am really looking forward
Thank you.
to
That's such a good
those
idea. That I
lovely
was actually going
arrangements
to
of
ask you if you
holly
had
and
any specific
berries.
ideas for us, but you've given us one. Thank you. I'm going to make one. That sounds lovely. I think that sounds really beautiful.
You could even do like bright pink candles or something. You could go really out there, like just have fun with it. Think, oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
you could get like, you can get those candy cane candles that are like red and white. Oh, there's so much you could do with it, and it's really lovely. Like if you do have any little ones in your life as well, to do it with them. Because I think there's something really special about children connecting with nature and making
yeah.
something that
That
they
is
can
so nice. I
literally bring
agree. I
to the
think it's lovely
table and
to
be
involve
proud of, and
children
like
in
I made that.
anything creative, and also I sometimes find they're more creative than us as well because they haven't been conditioned to say that's a bad idea or that looks bad or you shouldn't put that with that or those colours. Do you know all those sort of things that you pick up over your life children don't
Mm,
have, which I think is so lovely.
yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful actually just to watch them joyfully, like you say, without thinking, oh, but I'm doing it wrong or this or that. And yeah, and also the winter arrangements, they last so long. Those green foliage, you just top it up with water and it will last and last. So that's really lovely. Yeah, I'm excited this Christmas because I launched last September. So this is kind of my second Christmas. I'm excited to see what my customers are making. I'm really hoping to get lots of
Oh, that's really.
pictures
That's
because
really
I
nice
love
that
it
you
when
could
people
do that.
send me
That's
pictures and say,
really
look what
lovely.
I
That must
made.
be make it. That must be, yeah. That must be wonderful. Just seeing what people are making and using.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the joy of Instagram. You can quite easily snap a
Oh,
picture
that
and
must be
send it to
so
the account,
so
and
rewarding
people
to
do
see
that
that
quite
people are using the
often.
product and see how they're being creative with it. That's so nice.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. It's quite funny. I sold quite a few last year for like people that love the Emma Bridgewater mugs. I do too. I've got a huge collection of Emma Bridgewater, but sometimes the handles do break off, or you kind of drop it and it gets chipped, but you don't want to throw it away. And these fit on Emma Bridgewater, so it's so fun. I've actually had quite a few customer photos recently of their like Emma
Oh, that's
Bridgewater
such a
with the
good idea.
handle
I really
falling off,
loved your
full of
teapot
flowers, looking really
idea as well. I
beautiful.
think just I really like reusing other things to put plants in. I think
Mm.
that's so nice, like something that isn't necessarily like I've got a mug that I often put flowers in because it's one I made myself. I did some
Mm.
pottery and I made a mug, and I'm not quite confident about drinking out of it because I made it myself. I'm sure it's fine, but it looks really
Yeah.
lovely with flowers in it because I think even if a little bit of water comes out, that's fine. What you don't want is hot coffee just
Mm.
down your front. But I love using mugs and teapots and things
Yeah.
to put flowers in. I think that looks so
Yeah.
nice. And it's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
do
that
too.
actually is
It's
I
so good
didn't plan it.
just
This
to
is my
have
final thing I should
something a
ask
bit
you actually. Does the
different.
Halliesphere, does it come in different sizes or is it one size?
So these ceramic ones are one size because they're all made by hand in a mold, which is so exciting. So yeah, these are all one size, and really I made them that size because after 4 years of markets, that was always my bestseller. Whenever I took this larger size, so that fits on like a 2 point jug, it will fit on just anything you've got in the cupboard, really. I knew from doing the markets, I was like, wow, every time I took a few of those, they would sell out instantly. So I knew that was the size to launch with. Um, yeah, so it's really exciting. But if you do look on my Etsy, I've also just launched a recycled range at a slightly lower price point, which are all made in England still, and they are 100% recycled and 100% recyclable. So they are on my Etsy, and I do two sizes of those because that is a lot easier to create different sizes. So yeah, it's been really exciting to have the ceramics and
That
add
is
in a,
really
a new
nice. And yeah,
product, which
thank
is
you.
the
And
exact
I
same
asked about
design
the
in
size
a
because
recycled
obviously we've been talking
material.
about all the ways you could use it. So I thought I should actually, there will be someone listening thinking, I wonder if that would fit my vase or teapots or
Yeah,
whatever it is. Oh, thank you. And that's great to know there is a recyclable version as well. So if
yeah,
people want, for some reason, would prefer to have that version, then that's great as well. Maybe if they're looking for a smaller size. And we'll, of course,
yeah,
link to your website and everywhere
yeah.
else
Thank you.
in the show notes for the episode.
Yeah.
And I've got one final question for you, if that's okay, Jennifer. So, what would your number one piece of advice be for other product businesses?
Ooh, that is such a good question. I was thinking about this earlier, and there's so much you can say. Um, I think my number one piece of advice, having done what I've done, is absolutely stick to your ethics. And there's nothing wrong with making stuff in China if that's your business model. That's absolutely not what I was saying. I think it's more about there is a way, and your ethics are your brand. The way that you want your company to be is such a part of you. So if you think it can be done, it can be done. So keep going. and reach out and ask for help
That's brilliant.
from
Thank you so
people
much. And
that are
thank
a
you for
few steps
everything that you've
ahead.
shared.
Thank you. It's been so great to chat to you. We've got Dahlia here today, but I can't wait to see what we create when we come into the
Yeah, and we will, as I
December
say, we'll
and
mention the link to your socials
through the
in the show
festive
notes as well, so
season.
everyone can follow your Instagram, see what you're creating, and get some ideas as well. That'd be really nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, do follow along. I do lots of demos and I do lives, and yeah, you can't stop me really. I just, if I'm playing with flowers, then I go live
Well,
because
brilliant.
it's
Thank you so
always so
much,
much fun
Jennifer.
to share it with other people. Thank you.